What is going on, guys? It's Speed here. Welcome back to another video. So today, as you can clearly see, I have access to both Badlion Client and Cheatbreaker. Now recently I regained access to Cheatbreaker, so it allows me to make this video, but pretty much today what we're going to be doing is kind of reviewing both the clients together and I guess comparing them one by one. Now I haven't actually done a video like this or actually seen a video. I was trying to look for a video like this. If there is one, then I'll definitely link it down below. So what I'm going to be doing is recording individual clips, which I will obviously use both the clients for, and then I guess compare the FPS and a few other things as well. I'm going to try and keep my opinion out of this, obviously, because I don't want it to be a biased opinion and to influence what you guys think as well. Just to keep in mind, I'm actually a very good friend of Jay Holtz, which is the main developer or main, I guess, lead of the developing behind Cheatbreaker. You know, he's kind of the person that runs all of that, and I'm also a Badlion admin, so that should put you in perspective of that I'm quite neutral with both of these clients. I honestly support both. I really do think Cheatbreaker is about to have some massive updates, purely because I launched up Cheatbreaker and I noticed they're still running the old home screen. They've been running this home screen for quite some time, so I do feel like there is going to be some updates with Cheatbreaker, whether that just be aesthetically or as well it might be you know, internally as well, so they might be increasing, you know, the how well it performs or whatever. Badlion have done a very good job on release. As you guys know, they released their client recently, but anyway, without further ado, let's just jump straight into the comparison. Alright guys, and I've just launched up the Badlion client, so the Badlion client is going to go first. So we're here in the hub, or in the, you know, arena PvP lobby, and we're just going to go into a simple unranked match. Keep track of the FPS up here. This is the thing you want to be, you know, cautious about for now going into the first round. We're going to be monitoring FPS in this first test. It runs pretty smoothly. The boot up time is very good, honestly, and I think that's the same for both the clients. You know, there's not really a long wait you have to really wait for when you're loading up the client. It's definitely important to keep in mind I haven't changed any of the settings, so this is pretty much exactly everything that it's doing for me. It does it automatically. I also have the better frames all enabled. I haven't messed with any of this, so this is exactly what the Badlion client recommends for you. And we're going into an unranked match, and it did take a little bit of time to get into it, I'm not gonna lie, so I'm going to turn the music up just a little bit, so when I'm playing this fight you can monitor the FPS. I am recording right now and I have a pretty decent computer. Recently it's been acting up. I do feel like there's something wrong with it in terms of, you know, it feels okay when I'm recording. It just feels a little bit jittery occasionally, and I don't know if that's my computer or if it could be my recording software. I actually don't know. But anyway, we're going to go into the first match here. So this guy doesn't really know what he's doing. I'm actually going to 10 heart him probably. Okay, I just 10 hearted that guy. All right, well, we're going to do one more and then we'll swap over to the Cheatbreaker client. This is based upon how well the client performs in a simple 1v1. That's just kind of what I'm going to be, you know, kind of basing it upon. I'm not going to jump onto loads of different servers. Obviously, some maps, you know, some blocks make it better for FPS. For example, I believe red blocks, you know, I don't know if this is a fact, but I've heard red blocks make it, you know, harder to get better FPS. I don't know if that's true, but there is some textures in Minecraft which will, you know, differentiate FPS. For example, if I turned off clear glass and it had loads of these glass planes on the walls, it would, you know, deteriorate my FPS a lot, just because you can see the blocks differently. But anyway, that's it for the Badlion client right here. We're going to jump straight into the Cheatbreaker client and do the exact same thing that I just did and compare the FPS. Alright guys, when I was recording on the Badlion client, I was getting around 170 to 200 FPS in the arena like this. It's really similar, honestly. If you look at the FPS right now, I was getting around 170 to 200. That's pretty much what I'm getting here in the FPS in the arena lobby here, as you can see in the top left on the Cheatbreaker client. So it's very similar. But anyway, in the actual match, I was getting 350 to 400. So let's jump into a match with Cheatbreaker client and see if it's roughly around the same. It was jumping from around 350 to 400, I noticed, and right now we're getting around 200. We're in a match, and roughly right now I'm getting 600 FPS. So that's a massive difference between the 350 I was getting with the Badlion client. This guy actually has my skin, I just realized. Okay, so yeah, I'm roughly getting around 600 right now. I think it's going down to 500 at times. I'm going to monitor it more when I'm obviously finished fighting, but it's around 600. It's jumping down a little bit, but it's also going up to 700 at some points, so it is definitely around the 600 mark, I would say. On average, maybe around 650 actually. It is differentiating quite a lot, but it's definitely higher than the Badlion client. I would say around, not quite double, just under double as high as the... Okay, I don't want to ghost kill this guy, but okay, there you go, buddy. I'll let you heal. Come on, man. Okay, it's important to know that both clients do different things to increase FPS. I don't actually know what they do. I don't know how I got to half a heart there. I was kind of just trying to prolong the fight. Getting around 650 to 700 FPS there, which is definitely something very interesting because I expected it to be quite similar, especially considering we're holding around the same FPS in the lobby. So it definitely performs differently when we're in an actual 1v1 arena on the Cheatbreaker client. We get around double the FPS that we would get with the Badlion client, which is actually quite interesting because I didn't know it would be that much different. different, to be honest. There is a lot of differences that I want to cover. It's just I knew that a lot of people would probably want to know about the FPS differences to begin with, because that just seems to be a hot topic, even though there's a lot of other things to take into consideration. For example, the whole GUI. So as you can see here, when I press right shift, I actually was a big fan of how this, you know, moved around and everything. I love the locking feature, which is something I really wanted Badlion to implement, because the locking feature is just very good. It means you can align stuff very easily, like I was doing before, and I really do like it. It's pretty good. This itself is, I think, a little unnecessary personally. However, I can understand if people play a lot of different game modes, then they want to have different, you know, it just gives them more customization with your settings. The mods themselves, you know, there's not as many features as there are with the Badlion client. There's a lot more. I think there's, at least it looks like there's more mods. I don't actually know. So there's 9, and then I guess there's 11 mods here, and I don't know how many there are on the Badlion client, but I will count. There's 11 mods in this one, and a lot of them are UHC based. For example, all of them can be used in UHC, apart from the cooldown one, pretty much, I would say. That's just the mods, I guess, running into that. Can also do things like bug reports, so I guess you can write a report. This is a little shortcut thing, but yeah, that's the Cheatbreaker client in a nutshell. I'm going to roll over to the Badlion client now, and I guess give you guys a bit of information on it too. Alright guys, and we're back on the Badlion client. So this is the client I tend to use quite often, just because for me personally it feels like it's a quicker startup in terms of launching the actual client itself. I don't know if it's any different. If we press right shift, the same as Cheatbreaker, we have access to all of these mods. So as we can see immediately, there is a lot more mod selection with the Badlion client. Not all of them are mods. For example, block overlay is, you know, it's not necessarily a mod, but they have added a lot of 1.8 features too. So there's 12 here, plus there's a lot more, so 12. So yeah guys, there's 24 mods in total, and there's a lot more 1.8 mods, which is something I wanted to talk about quickly. So the one plus side to using the Badlion client is it does have a 1.8 compatibility. There is a 1.8 launcher you can use, which it gives you the same exact results. It's just a 1.8 version, so that's a very big bonus for the Badlion client. Obviously you can use it on 1.8, which is something I personally wanted them to include, because I know a lot of Hypixel players probably will want to use this client, so it makes it a lot more accessible to a larger audience. There is a lot more mod selection. There is definitely a lot more mods. As you can see, they've definitely focused on doing that as well. In general, I find the Badlion client packed with more stuff, obviously, and I would say Cheatbreaker got the better FPS in 1v1 arenas. Now I'm not sure if that's definitely for everything else, although in 1.7 or 1v1 arenas on Badlion it does perform a lot better, or at least it doubles the FPS, although it doesn't really matter, because even when I was getting, you know, 350 FPS on the Badlion client, it felt exactly the same. You know, you can't tell a difference after, you know, 144 FPS unless you're using a 240 Hz monitor. Then I guess you want around 240 FPS, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't change too much as long as you're getting, you know, a solid, as long as you're getting like a 150 to 200, you're doing fine. It's just if you like, you know, having a huge amount of FPS, I guess that's the only difference. I can't imagine that many of you guys really care. Now both the mods in the clients work very similarly. For example, you know, the toggle sprint, it's not exactly different in Cheatbreaker than it is in Badlion client. They both work the same way, so I don't really think there's a point of me going into every single mod and, you know, kind of picking out the differences, because chances are they've downloaded or installed the same exact plugin or mod, for example, that they're using on both the clients. It's exactly the same. I'm trying not to confuse you guys, but a lot of the stuff is the same, so there's not really too much to really compare apart from the whole FPS and how it performs. In terms of it crashing or the clients crashing, I've never really had any issues with either of the clients. A few people have had some issues with the Badlion client getting like an authentication error, and the best thing to really do is follow the Badlion client Twitter, because they will obviously update you guys when there is issues, because I've seen them do that before. You know, there has been issues where the servers have gone offline and whatever, and you know, you've just got to follow their Twitter to make sure you know when they're going back up. It does happen sometimes, definitely. You know, there is a lot of people trying to use the client at once, so you've got to keep that into consideration when you are playing with it. Sometimes the servers or the authentication, whatever, might be down. So there's not much else I really feel like that needs to be compared between the clients. If there is something you want me to compare, let me know in the comments down below if there's anything you really want me to find out for you guys, because obviously all of you can use the Badlion client. However, the Cheatbreaker client isn't yet public, and I do think it's going to come out. I think they're going to do a lot of updates and then bring it out personally, because it looks quite outdated now. You know, the whole home screen, we've seen that for like a year now, so I do feel like they're going to change the graphics for the client. I know they've been working on their website, but I do feel like it is going to come out. In fact, Nestor actually made a video on the new Ultra MineHQ kind of server recently, which was quite interesting actually to see that, because I'm pretty happy that it's coming out. You know, hopefully a lot of people come back to Badlion or come back to MineHQ or Ultra, or just come back to the UHC community in general once it does come out, because I think it's going to run a big play in what happens this summer in terms of Minecraft, obviously, because I do feel like things need to change if this community has a chance of surviving it past the summer. If I'm honest, that's just my own opinion though. But anyway, thank you guys all for watching this video. I still have the old skin on. I need to change this. Let me know what you guys think down below. Hopefully you guys enjoy the video. If you want to go ahead and download the Badlion Client, the link is down below. You guys can all go download it right now. It is out in the stores. So thank you ever so much. I hope to see you tomorrow with another video, and goodbye.